Everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today, I have a guest I've known for a few years. He's one of the best New England area amateur bodybuilders. Please welcome the guy they call Rodzilla, Rodney Boudreau. How are you, Rodney?
Good, thanks.
So, yeah, you just informed me that you're not in New Hampshire anymore. You're even more north than before.
Yeah, living in Maine now.
Yeah. So now you got to say,
life.
What do you got to say? You got to go, yeah, when people ask you. Yeah. But man, I also want to clear up, we are actually two different people. Hopefully people can tell us apart now.
Right.
You've got the beard, because when we used to both have the little thing here, it was even more confusing.
I know, everybody thought we were related.
Well, we certainly, maybe way back we are, who knows? I mean,
maybe.
We all came from the same monkey, like a million years ago. So yeah, Rodney, before we get into your near-death experiences, man, fill people in here. I mean, when did you start competing, and what were some of the titles that you picked up along the way?
I started competing. My first show was in 2002. I competed with you.
That's right.
The same weight class, as a matter of fact, but I didn't do very well. I was a whole 189 pounds.
Oh no, you would have been a light heavy then that year.
Oh, you were a heavyweight. You were even bigger than I am.
I was 202. That's a class that they call barely heavyweight. So you were young back then too, man.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Oh shit, 23.
Yeah, baby Rodney.
Yeah, baby. So I didn't do all that well. The judges told me I needed to be bigger. So I came back in 2006. I did a show in Derry that they used to have called
Northeast Tournament of Champions and New Hampshire and the Mass State. It was, I think they had the Mass State, the New Hampshire State, and the Northeast Tournament Champions all in one day.
Yeah. I remember that. I did that, but my conditioning honestly was awful. I was much heavier, but not much better. So I took time off. I came back in 2010. My conditioning was spot on. I still only managed sixth, I think, in the heavyweights.
Yeah.
And then I was with a well-known guru helping me.
Oh.
I
Honey
felt
Rambod.
like I lost. What's that?
Honey Rambod. Wow, that's awesome. No, somebody else.
I felt like he had over dieted me. I'd lost too much muscle to compete. I was 218 or so. And so I came back in 2011 and I was 226, just over heavyweight. And I competed with your buddy, Matt.
Yeah, Matt Puglia. Yeah.
Yeah. And I beat him.
It happens.
And then I had a health scare. I had an injury in 2012. Didn't compete. And then I came back in 2013, full 26 pounds heavier than 2011.
Wow.
And I won the heavyweight class again at the New Englands and just barely missed the overall.
You were a super heavyweight.
I was a super heavyweight. Yep.
Yeah. So what was your heaviest stage weight in shape?
254.
Wow. And what are you, about 6 foot, would you say?
I'm 6 foot. Yeah, little shy of 6'1" actually.
Okay. Cool.
And I feel like I could probably compete at around 260. I spend most of the time around 320.
Oof.
With abs.
Yeah, remind people what you weighed when you started lifting, though.
I weighed 152 pounds when I started lifting.
Wow.
And at my absolute heaviest, I weighed 360 pounds.
So you gained I'm not good at math, but what's that, like
208 pounds.
Oof. So you basically gained a heavyweight.
Pretty much.
Competitor. Wow.
Pretty much. I don't know many people that have been able to gain that much muscle.
No, that's a lot, man. So that was your last show was what year? 2013?
2013.
Wow. So what's been going on since then? Why have you competed?
So in 2014, I tore my right lat right off the bone. And I had complications with it. Took 4 surgeries to fix it. And that put me down for a little while. And I was planning on coming back in 2017. And in the middle of prep, I tore my pec.
Hold on. How did you tear? I know pec tears I hear about all the time. I don't hear about lat tears very often. How did you tear your lat?
I was deadlifting 700 pounds.
Okay.
I get about 3 inches off the ground and it just ripped off the bone.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
yeah. They actually, the doctor told me that the lat tendon is actually the thinnest tendon in the body. It's thinner than the bicep tendon.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? I never knew that.
God must have been like asleep at the wheel that day when he was designing tendons.
I know, right? Doesn't make sense.
And what were you doing when you tore your pec?
I was doing bench press on the Smith machine.
Usually as a bench press. Okay.
Still warming up, you know, and every time I've ever torn something, it's been like with a warm up weight.
Right.
You know, I used to be able to bench press 600 pounds. And
Oof.
when I tore my pec, I was only benching 405.
Only.
I was still warming up. I did that for a good set of 20.
Man, good Lord. Okay. So lat tear, pec tear. Yeah, those are not easy to cut. Did you have surgery for the pec tear?
I did have surgery for the pec tear. They repaired it. It looks perfect. You can't tell the difference. Honestly, the right lat looks a little different than the left one, but not enough to hold me back.
Fair enough.
It's probably more me that notices than anybody else.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to use it in the title. I think I will. Your nickname is Rodzilla.
Yes.
Based on your name and this Godzilla. Obviously, we all know who Godzilla is. And,
yeah, I worked at a factory quite a few years back, and they started calling me that, so it just stuck.
It's a great nickname. I would keep that nickname.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think I'm gonna throw in some of that. Geez, I taped an arm workout. You came to my gym in Stoughton years ago.
Yep, 2013.
I think it was right after a show or right before a show.
Right before a show, 2 weeks out from the New Englands.
23-inch arms, if I believe. I think we even I want to say we taped them on camera. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It didn't make it into the interview if we did, but I know you taped him that day that we had that big workout with Matt and Jose was there, I think.
Yeah.
You taped him that day. You were working for Gaspari?
Yeah, I was affiliated with them at the time. I think I did the workout video for MD though. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
You did, and me and Matt did most of the video work.
That's right.
And yeah, you taped my arms there, 23 inches.
Yeah, and it's funny because you still can't. I made a quip the other day because people will throw these little jabs like, you need to go deeper on this or your form needs to be better on that for your legs. I'm like, dude, everyone knows me for my legs, and you say people even give you crap about your arm training.
Oh yeah, try to like correct me on my arm training. And like I don't got enough range of motion on my 23-inch biceps. That's like
a poor person going up to a rich person saying, listen, you're making money all wrong. Let me tell you how to make money. Yeah, you know
what's the funny thing about that? Me and a couple of buddies went to the New York Pro one time, and we're standing in line to get some pizza, and a homeless man started making fun of me, calling me a roid head. And I was like, dude, you live in a box.
Yeah. Well, it made him feel better about himself for that 1 second.
For that split second, he felt pretty good.
Man. All right. So we need to get into the gruesome stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You've had some serious health scares, and here you are, thank God. But let's run through them. The first one was 2020, the first year of that dreaded quarantine pandemic crap. So what happened to you in 2020, Rodney?
So me and my girlfriend split up temporarily, but we split up, and I have since 2011 I've had cardiomyopathy, which means my heart beats too fast and too hard. Okay. So I take medication for it, and it took a long time, but it's at normal functioning range now. Yeah. But for a long time it was real low. But I take a medication that brings my alpha and a beta blocker. It brings my heart down.
Yeah.
And the side effect of the medication is if you miss doses, you can have a heart attack.
What the hell?
So yeah, it's crazy. God. So we split and I moved out, and I left most of my meds at the house. And 3 days later, I had a heart attack.
Because you weren't taking the meds?
Because I didn't take the meds. I missed the meds and I had a heart attack.
Good Lord.
And I actually died, and the paramedics brought me back to life. I was on the phone trying to reconcile with my girlfriend at the time, and the phone went dead, and she couldn't get me, and she called 911.
Wow. Saved
my life.
Wow. So man, there's different levels of heart attacks and everything. Did you need like a stent? What did they do for you?
No, I didn't. I came out of it with no heart damage. They sent me, I lived in Rochester, and they sent me to the Rochester hospital, but there was no beds, and they had to transport me all the way to Boston.
Oh, because of COVID, were the beds all full up?
I would assume so. So I ended up in Boston. I was there for a week, and then they released me. So that was scare number one.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I'm sure after that you've had a cardiologist, maybe you had one before.
Yeah.
Are they cool with you being this big? Because generally speaking, it's not healthy to be, what are you, 320 pounds or something ridiculous like that?
Normally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I've always been this big since I've had a cardiologist, so I think they just assume that this is how big I am, and they don't realize that, you know, I forced myself to be this big, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but they've never said anything to me. I mean, I had a primary care physician for a long time, and he said, you know, you need to look more like a basketball player, long and lean. And he said that to me about a half a dozen times. And I finally said, hell with this. And I left and I got a new doctor.
Basketball player. Come on now.
That's what he told me.
I
I was
mean,
like, it took me
go
took me
ahead.
20 years to gain this.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where they might suggest you downsize a little, but that would be, you would need to drop like 150 pounds for that look. Easy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Muscle. That's
I couldn't drop 150 pounds if I cut off a leg.
Well, let's do the math. I bet one of your legs is about 100 pounds, but still. Okay. So everything's cool with that. You're back on the meds ever since then. And, you know, do you get, people are going to ask in the comments, they're going to say, this guy's an idiot. He should stop bodybuilding. Tell me what you do. Do you get all the heart scans? What are you doing to make sure that your heart's never going to be a...
Yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, I had an EKG today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I keep up with it. I go at least once a year. They monitor my meds all year, and I get an EKG every year. So I haven't, I mean, I got one 6 months after the heart attack, and then 6 months after, and now it's every year. They monitor it. I'm on medication. It's not an issue.
Okay. But you were pronounced dead for a few seconds?
Yep.
Okay. Stupid question, but I got to ask because I'm into all the paranormal and all that. Do you remember anything like from that, any kind of experience or anything?
Nothing.
No? Oh, well.
Nothing. The only thing I remember is waking up in Boston, and they were trying to get me to put on the hospital gown, and I refused.
Yeah, because you got your ass hanging out the back. I don't know why.
Yeah, the security guards were terrified of me. I was like, I'm putting on my own pants. I don't give a shit what you say.
Oh man. Okay. So you made it through that one. Thank God. Now what happened? I remember last year you contacted me about things to help heal. You were going in for shoulder surgery. I think it was last October.
Yeah.
And, you know, it sounded pretty routine to me, but I guess it wasn't so routine in the end. What happened?
So my son came home from school in early December with COVID. So we all bought home tests, and we tested, and everybody in the family had COVID.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. A couple of days later, I was having trouble breathing. I went to the doctor. They gave me an inhaler and sent me on my way. That's the only symptom I had, right?
Yeah.
A couple nights after that, I wake up in the middle of the night, hacking my brains out. I can't breathe. So I'm searching everywhere for the inhaler. I blacked out, smashed my face on my nightstand, broke my nose on both sides, and broke my eye socket.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, but that's horrible.
That was the start of it.
The start.
So I went to the ER, you know, where they obviously they checked the nose, did scans and everything, and they, you know, told me that the nose was broken and the eye socket was broken, and they tested me for COVID, which I already knew. And then was it 2 weeks later? About 2 weeks later, I woke up with a real sharp pain in my side. Like somebody had hit me with an axe in my lung.
Wow.
Okay. So, and I don't remember any of this. This is all my wife told me all this. I don't remember driving to the hospital. I remember waking up with the pain. I don't remember anything after that.
Wow.
So I drove to Wentworth Douglas. They admitted me. I was in the ER for a couple days, and then they brought me upstairs to the COVID unit. And by the time I got upstairs to the COVID unit, I was purple.
Oof.
They asked me, can we intubate you? What am I going to say? Yeah, I can't breathe. Intubate.
Right.
What they don't tell you is that when they intubate you, you got about a 1% chance of living.
1%?
1%.
Yikes. Is that a ventilator situation?
That's a ventilator situation. Yes, they put me on a ventilator.
Wow. Okay.
So I woke up 9 days later. They took me off the ventilator. When I woke up, the nurses told me that I'm the only person they've woken up from a ventilator since October.
Ooh.
Everybody else is dead.
Wow.
Or still on the ventilator.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the day they woke me up, a girl I went to high school with died. She was on the ventilator.
Man. But you woke up.
So
you woke up and
I woke up. I was pretty foggy. I mean, they have you on heavy meds to keep you sedated.
Yeah.
So I was in a fog for a couple of days. I managed to talk to my wife. You know, basically my throat was so sore from the ventilator, I could only growl yes and no. So they told me that I was going to be there for weeks recovering. And this was a week before Christmas exactly. And I said to them, I said, I'm going to be home for Christmas. And they said, no way. Every day I woke up, I was so much improved from the day before, they couldn't believe it. And they sent me home on Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
So I couldn't walk. They didn't give me any PT while I was there because my heart rate was 160 beats a minute. I had to shock my heart to put it back into sinus rhythm.
Yep.
Okay. So I didn't want them to have any reason to keep me from going home. So mind you, I couldn't even feel my legs. I managed to walk from the bed to the wheelchair. And it was literally harder than any leg workout I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
So I got home and my wife and son had to help me into the house with crutches. And within a week, I was back at the gym, and with the okay from the nurses, the physical therapy and everything. And what I would do is I would do a set, walk the length of the gym, sit down, let my heart rate come down, breathe, and then do another set, and so on and so forth, to build up my stamina so that I could walk.
Yeah.
I managed to do that. I entered the hospital at 320, and 3 weeks later I was 250 pounds. I lost 70 pounds in the hospital in 3 weeks.
Well, you didn't eat a damn thing, right?
No, and the hospital food was atrocious.
Well, I mean, I don't think you could have eaten anyway. You had a tube down your throat.
Yeah, they had a feeding tube. I mean, they were obviously giving me nutrients, but not enough to maintain that kind of muscle.
Right.
So 4 weeks post-COVID, I had managed to put back on 40 pounds. I was doing pretty good. And I was having a conversation with my wife, and I wasn't making any sense. I had an infection. So I was talking gibberish with her. I was talking to her about the difference in prescription drug plans between Marvel and DC heroes.
Is that a real thing? No, right?
Yeah, which obviously doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, I mean,
so she said, we have to go to the hospital. I said, okay, I trust her. She says, we're going to go to the hospital. We're going to go to the hospital. I go to the hospital. This is 5 weeks after I'm home from COVID, mind you.
Yeah.
I almost died there.
Right.
So 5 weeks later, I'm in the hospital. They're doing brain scans. They think I have meningitis. They're checking all kinds of stuff. And they finally do an CT scan of the lungs. And when I got out of the hospital with COVID, I had a tiny amount of fluid in my right lung. And they checked me a week after, it was smaller. They checked me 3 weeks later, it was smaller. In the span of 2 weeks, it went from about the size of a dime to the size of 2 lemons. My whole lower right lobe
was full of fluid,
filled with infected fluid.
Nice, well, not nice, bad. I mean, that's so. What's the diet? What do they even call that? Is that pneumonia or is that something different?
They call it empyema.
Okay.
And so they called around trying to find. They had no surgeons at Wentworth Douglas that could do the procedure. So they called around to different hospitals trying to find somebody that could do the procedure, and they finally found a doctor at Brigham and Women's. So they after 5 days, after about 4 or 5 days, they transferred me to Brigham and Women's. I got there on a Friday. I got there on a Friday, and they performed the surgery on Sunday.
Okay.
So now I'm missing a third of my right lung, and I got about an 18-inch scar.
Oh my gosh.
They told me
up your back, the scar, I'm assuming.
Yeah, from my serratus all the way around my lat, up my back.
Wow.
They told me if I hadn't come in when I did, I could have, there were cysts. They could have burst in my sleep and drowned me.
Wow.
Abscesses, that's what they're called. I'm sorry, abscesses. See,
I'm wondering, you had gotten, that whole stint with the that you had been in the hospital and the ventilator before. I would imagine, in my naivete, you would have had to do some sort of follow-up appointments, like every other week.
I had multiple scans, and the fluid was less and less every scan. And then 2 weeks after the last scan, in the span of 2 weeks, it grew from a dime to the size of 2 lemons.
That's crazy. It was going away, and then all of a sudden, kapoosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No idea why.
Okay, so they took part of your lung out. All the fluid's gone. You're still recovering from that? Because that wasn't that.
I'm still recovering from that. I just recently came off of oxygen. If you look at my Facebook, you see plenty of pictures of me in the gym with an oxygen
Oh my goodness.
mask on. I managed to lose the 40 pounds that I gained, back down to 250. I started at 320, then I was back down to 250. I've been in the gym now for 2.5 weeks, and I'm back up to 280.
Okay.
So it's coming back pretty quickly. It's the smallest 280 I've ever been.
Smallest 280.
Yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous. I feel so small. I'm sure people can relate.
Well, it is true, and you're great. I tell people this all the time. I say you're never going to be big enough.
No.
You know, when they start bodybuilding, they say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. What about these guys are 300 pounds?" I say, "I know a lot of guys are 300 pounds. Trust me, they don't think they're big enough yet."
Yeah,
They
never.
Yeah, so
Not a thing.
But what are you haven't competed now in 8 years, almost 8 years. So what, do you want to get back? What are you thinking about?
I do want to get back. This year's the write-off. It's going to take me, 3 or 4 months to gain back everything that I lost. And then to go into a diet after that would just, I would probably lose most of it. So that's a write-off. I've been focusing on coaching, helping others. I'm not leaving competing out. I still have unfinished business. I've looked at a lot of the winners of the Masters Nationals and the super heavy class, and I feel like I could be very competitive in that class.
A lot of times they don't even have any super heavies, or they might have like 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I think that winning an overall here in New England and then going to the Masters Nationals would be something I'm looking at in the next couple of years. I just gotta have enough prep time, healthy prep time.
Yeah, I saw you at a few regional shows that you did very well, won your class and stuff. I mean, did you ever go national level?
I did the nationals in 2013 when they were in Miami.
Okay.
I compared really well from the front and back. It's when we turn to the side, you got guys 5'9" that weigh the same that I do. And they still killed me on thickness. So that's, I need to be thicker.
Okay.
I am now.
How old are you now? How old are you now? Do you know? Of course.
30, 30, I wish. 43.
43. Okay. So I know they have over 40, obviously, but I'm even hearing like over 45. I think they have it. I want to say Universe does that now.
Yeah.
I think they've implemented that in a couple. So that might be an option for you. You have a lot of options now, obviously.
There's so many options to turn pro as opposed to, the 90s. It's ridiculous.
Let's see. If you're about the same height as Bumstead, your classic physique cutoff would be 230. So that ain't happening. Because everyone's like, why don't they just, everyone always throws it out there. Why don't you do classic?
Right.
Because he'd have to lose 50, 60 pounds of muscle. That's why.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even if you tried to lose muscle, what do you think the lightest you would be? As long as you're still trained, it's hard to say. 250.
250. Yeah, I don't even eat, and I don't even train. I can't get below 250.
Yeah, I mean, Cutler is a great example. He was trying to downsize a few years ago. He could not get under 240 to save his life.
I mean, every time I've ever been injured, 250, 260 is where I end up at, even if I don't train or even eat. So I can't get under that anymore.
So you've had 3 harrowing experiences here. What do you come away from this with? Do you have a deeper appreciation for life, for your loved ones? I mean, there's got to be an upside to this.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm grateful to be alive. I think it's nothing short of a miracle. I mean, people don't wake up from the ventilator, one, and to be home for Christmas Eve of all things. I mean, they basically told me what I did was impossible.
Right. Yeah.
So, I have a great appreciation for life. I appreciate my family. They were there for me every step of the way, and have made plenty of sacrifices to make sure that that I'm happy and healthy. And I just, I'm grateful to be alive. I guess that's the takeaway. And I feel like
that's the most powerful thing, because that's the one thing we have that people that are passed away don't have, is life. And we take it for most of us just take every day for granted. Like, we always think we're going to have tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. We always just, I don't think any of us really believe we're going to die, except for people who have come close to it, like you have.
Right. Oh yeah. And it's funny because I thought COVID was a joke. Like, oh, it's a cold.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But let me tell you, for the 1% that it hits the hardest, it's not a joke.
Yeah.
It's serious. So I would say, like, take care of yourself, wash your hands and use your hand sanitizer, and, wipe down your machines, and, things like that, yourself safe.
You don't have to answer this, but where do you stand on the V word, and not vagina, vaccine?
On the vaccine, I was pretty much against it before, and now I'm for certain going to get it. The problem with it is when it first came out, they were saying that, you get it, you're not going to get COVID. And then they said, you get it, it's not going to be as bad, and, blah, 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 blah. But my understanding of it from my doctor, from the nurses who care of me, is you don't end up in the hospital on a ventilator if you have the vaccine.
Okay. Yeah, because
in the ICU that I was in, there was 10 people in the ICU. Only one of them had gotten the vaccine. The other 9 that were on ventilators hadn't gotten the vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the same thing from nurses that I know, from a couple doctors I speak to. So, we're not here to talk politics or anti-vax or pro-vax or anything, but
you do you, but I don't want to end up on a ventilator ever again. I'm terrified of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine having. How long were you on that thing for?
9 days.
9 days with a tube down your throat.
Yes.
Were you conscious this whole time?
No, but you know what? I wasn't conscious, but I had horrible nightmares.
Really?
I thought I was conscious. The nightmares were so realistic. I thought I was awake, and
you couldn't wake up. Oh.
I couldn't wait, and I couldn't. Yeah, and when I woke up, I was delirious because the nightmare was so real to me. I woke up and I told the doctor, I said, "There's somebody on the roof trying to kill me."
Man.
He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Look through the sky roof. I can see them right there."
Wow. He's got a hat and he's got a glove with knives on it. It's Freddy Krueger. No, but seriously, that is terrifying to be in that, trapped in your own nightmares. You literally can't wake up because you're.
Yeah, it was horrifying. That's the worst part of the whole situation to me. It was horrifying.
Because they had you like in a induced coma or something, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Yeah, so you couldn't wake up no matter how hard you tried anyway.
Exactly.
Physiologically, you were not able to become conscious again.
Correct.
That's rough, man. Well, that's quite a story, Rodney. I haven't seen you in a long time, but I'm so happy that you're okay. Man, you've been through some shit, dude. The injuries alone, that's what we all cry about as bodybuilders. Oh no, I tore this or that, which is a bad thing, but
right,
man,
not compared to dying.
No, this is a whole other level of danger that you've been through.
I would have taken another muscle tear over this any day.
Yeah, and
having had my share, believe me.
And I think you have the people around you, your friends, your family. You see who's really there for you when you have stuff like this happen to you.
Oh yeah,
those casual friends, they're not gonna bother with you at that point.
Yeah, I think another thing that I've taken away from this, and say what you will and believe what you want to believe, but I believe in the power of prayer. I literally had people all over the world praying for me, and I woke up when I wasn't supposed to woke up, and I was home when I wasn't supposed to be home.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you had a 1% chance of survival on that ventilator. Come on, I mean, it's possible, but it's very unlikely that you were going to survive that. Very unlikely.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've talked to ICU nurses, and they've told me almost every time when someone's on a ventilator, they're going to die. They never.
Oh yeah.
Very few people make it out of that. Very few.
My friend's a nurse in the ER, and she was afraid to tell my wife that she thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
She actually told them in the ER, if someone gets coded, meaning if someone dies, not to call her because it was probably her friend.
Ah, man. Rough. Well, yeah, quite a story, Rodney. I'm glad you made it through. And you're, even if you're not competing for the now, you are passing on your knowledge and helping other people reach their goals. So that's kind of satisfying as well.
in a different way, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I got a lot to teach.
Cool. So how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in some coaching?
They can get a hold of me at ZLA Fitness Training at gmail.com or through my Instagram at ZLA Fitness.
ZLA Fitness, which
Yes.
what's ZLA stand for?
Zilla.
Zilla. What a dope. I should have figured that out. Cool, man. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Rodney. It's I know you've been through some stuff. I had no idea it was this extensive or this dangerous, but you know, through the grace of God and all that, here you are talking to me. So that's a good thing. You know,
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching Ronline Report. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave some comments, do all that good stuff. Turn on the notification bell. This has been Ronline Report with Rodney, Rodzilla Boudreau. We'll see you next time.